Stuart Harding writes to me, and he says, where is the sharp rise in CO2 and global average temperatures? Paul, I've thoroughly enjoyed your talks on PS Audio, well, thank you, sir, over the years, and now I'm fascinated by your upcoming book called Emians. Thank you. I've thoroughly enjoyed, oh, I already read that. Thank you, sir, for the wonderful enlightenment and entertainment. Okay. However, I am puzzled by the topic of global average temperatures and CO2 concentrations around the Emian, and I would be very curious to hear your thoughts and explanation. If I look it up on Wikipedia, it says the prevailing Emian climate was, on average, around 2 degrees Celsius warmer than that of the Holocene. During the Emian, the proportion of CO2 in the atmosphere was about 280 parts per million. And at the end of the Emian, CO2 concentrations sharply fell, as well as temperatures, and thus began the last ice age. For comparison, currently we're at 420 ppm and rising incredibly quickly. So if your hypothesis is that the Emians suffered a similar climatic fate to what we will, which it is, due to their burning of fossil fuels, where's that very sharp rise in CO2? Thank you. Well, the information that I based a lot of this on is a little tough to find, and maybe it would be helpful if in the notes of the book I publish some references. Maybe I'll do it on the website. Because look, the Aurora Project, Emians, book 1 of Emians, this is a thriller. This is one of the coolest treasure hunts that you've ever read. And let's be honest, that's its main purpose. Now, I'm also very passionate about climate change, about worrying about what's going to happen to our planet and our children, and what are we doing about it? It's one of the reasons I talk a lot about fusion, because I believe fusion is the answer to global warming problems. And I hope people start realizing that anything you can do to support fusion is great. As an example of my commitment to that, I worked on a project with about 300 other people called the Carbon Almanac, and you can look it up. It did very well out there, and it's just a book of facts. Here's what's going on, here are the facts. Well, during that research and years ago, what I uncovered, and this is, again, maybe I'll put this on the website so you can look it up as well. I don't remember the gentleman's name, but a scientist in Greenland who was doing ice core samples uncovered the idea or the evidence that Greenland had completely melted. And it isn't, if you look up the history of Greenland, you'll note that in Wikipedia or whatever, they don't really talk a lot about that. It isn't something that is generally accepted. But if you look harder and you look at the Greenland melt, you'll find a lot of evidence of people, geologists and climatologists, who have, who will stand up and say, yep, that actually happened. And it happened at that very short period of time. You also could look up, I think it's called MIS 12, if I remember correctly. Look, a lot of this research that I've done was done, because I've been working on this book for 10 years. So a lot of this research was done 5-6 years ago, but I'll try and publish some of it. It absolutely happened, as best I can tell, and from everything the scientists that I've read have suggested, that there was a brief melting period at the end of the Emian of Greenland and half of Antarctica, and that's when that massive rise and that's correlated with it. And a lot of it's trapped in, I think MIS looks at ocean sediments. But look, I'm no scientist. So I'll do my best to put it on the website and give people a few references so you can have a look. And thanks for all the excitement. I'm really excited about this book. It's been a long time. I just was rereading it, and wow, some of it's pretty exciting. Okay, take it easy. Bye.